wrong side of the river gearheads. I'm Sarah.
Mitch.
Nick.
Kevin.
Adam.
We have our two visitors today, and we're in Ardbeg.
We're in Ardbeg.
Yeah.
We're actually
The
out on
set
the
is a
trails.
little different.
Salutations from Ardbeg.
Mm-hmm. So we're here to talk about Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. You have
Which
to make sure we release this on Tuesday, by the way.
But we're Wednesday people.
I'm whenever I get it.
That's what's happened.
But yeah, anyhow, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah.
Glad you guys can make it. It's been a long time in the making.
For sure.
We finally actually bring you two together, so.
So say many trails together, and some highlights, some lowlights.
So do you guys want to give your specs on kind of what your vehicles are?
Way to cut Mitch off.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Like, wow.
We've been down this road before her now.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Normally I just let her down.
Oh my god.
So, Kevin, want to go first? Some of the highlights that you're most proud of?
Oh, of my truck?
Or life. But
Oh,
truck,
life, yeah.
taco,
No, life's good. Dad life. Kids, going to BC in a couple days.
Nice.
And with the taco or without?
Without.
Okay.
I'm taking an airplane.
Almost as cool. But now, what about the Tacoma? How did it start? Where did it come from? And what makes it taco amazing?
Oh, well, first of all, it's a 95.5 Toyota Tacoma. 3RZ, 5-speed, J-shift 4-wheel drive.
What's the 0.5 significance?
First half of the year was still considered the pickup. So it's the first year of the Toyota Tacoma.
Oh, neat. Trivia.
So what's happened to the second half?
It just became 96.
That just being 96.
Yeah. It's just a split year.
Gotcha.
Volkswagen did that too.
Yeah, they
in
did
99.
that a lot.
99 and 99.5. That was Mark 3 and 4 or Mark 2 and 3 or something
GM
like that.
just had classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they did things.
Yeah.
But there was a hard line in the sand. Drum brake, disc brake.
Yeah, I had an argument with a guy about that because I was looking for drum brakes, and he was like, no, 99s are discs all the way around. And I'm like, no, they're not. And he came out and he had to look at the VIN and tell me I was wrong. Yeah. And I was like, I understand it's a 99. But I had a 99 Classic.
Yeah.
So
Classic what?
GM 1500.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were still talking Volkswagen.
No, so it was...
No, we bounce around.
But
yes.
he just assumed you were mistaken.
He came out to the truck to grab the VIN to tell me it was a 99, but couldn't look the few extra feet to see the fact that it had drums and not rotors. But
well, because
that's
they
a whole
probably
other
didn't know the difference between drums and rotors.
You might be on something there.
But on paper and on the computer.
It says.
It says. What about yours? Because yours is a lot newer.
Yeah, I have a 2017 SR5 with about 5 inches of lift all the way around. And right now I'm running 34-inch militaries. I normally have 36-inch militaries.
And we can hear them coming from at least 5 minutes away, right?
It was the sound of my people. Coming down. You were making time.
Yeah.
We heard you coming in for sure. It was actually pretty impressive. That's what it was. We were
And it was a nice steady sound.
Bet you that's Adam.
There's no one else up here. I'm hoping it's him.
When we got to the logger station and we first pulled the cores, it sounded like a whistle, eh? They were so loud.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
And we felt bad. We're like, we got to get this done, Like, so then when you rolled in, it was cool to hear a different sound. Man, that was wild. And so then, obviously, military tires, you said both sets.
Yeah.
And what was the direction? It was just availability, durability?
Durability and availability, and I'm cheap.
Yeah.
So
Taco
Thrifty.
life.
they were the best option, and out of the tires that I've had, the militaries have been one of my favorite for an all-terrain tire.
Sure.
They work in
considered all-terrain?
everything.
Yeah, they cry on the highway, and then they scream off-road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. And so it's gone through a couple builds. I remember you saying that you've had some problems and some, parts that needed replacing.
Yeah.
After they went out in a rock star fashion.
Oh yeah, Crystal Lake mud hole was a good one.
Even prior, the one you were saying about the diff.
Oh yeah, blowing the diff. Toyota, I've learned, is an awesome vehicle. Wheels and goes wherever you want it to.
Point and shoot.
But when you break it, you better have a thick wallet.
Not
Point and
always,
shoot.
but I might have a different situation since my truck's 28 years old.
Yes. For me, parts are hard to get. Most places don't have or have a listing for. Put it this way, Canadian Tire or nowhere has a listing for a U-joint for my truck. I gotta
Really?
take it out and take it to Lindsay Driveline or to the dealership to get the U-joint.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Because
That's
then
annoying.
those like Matt and Dan look at it and they're like, okay, you measure the caps, cross section of the trunnion. This is the joint that will work for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't give you a better price, but I'll put it in for you. Bring me the shaft. Yeah, that's awesome. So you've ran into that then?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But I've only had 2 breakdowns of hard wheeling it.
So
One was a rear diff, and then the next one was an alternator and a starter.
We haven't
Oh,
even told the king about that. You know that?
it dusted the starter.
We've actually held that video off and not told.
Starter was
No, we
900.
haven't released that video.
We haven't told anybody about that.
No.
That's awesome. You should have bought 2 at that price.
Right?
And the alternator was obviously many hundreds.
500.
$1,300, $1,400 is a tremendous amount of money, man.
So yeah, the Crystal Lake was the eye opener of, okay, maybe I should buy a 4-wheeler that I can still get to work after.
Yeah. It's such an enjoyment thing, though. You're like, I'm going to take my truck that I overland in, live in, off-road in, and this can't be that bad. I regret this.
Yeah.
This is awful. But it was cool to hear that engine, whatever you call it, at all the RPMs.
It's a V6 in it, 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
Solid, nice.
Yep. Have
See-
200,000 on it with no issues.
Anemic, but reliable.
Yeah, my truck's sitting probably close to around 420,000.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Driveline wise, engine too?
Engine had a top end rebuild from a blown head gasket. That's about it that I know of from its history. I didn't get much history after I bought it. It already had, I think it was like 308,000 on it when I bought it.
Nice.
So
Now,
I
you
put
had to
over
do
100 on 1,000 in the past 4 years.
When you got it, you had to do a pretty significant rebuild to it, right?
Refresh?
No, it was actually,
Refresh?
it was pretty good when I
thought-
got it.
I thought the frame was.
That didn't happen until Gary and I went wheeling with some locals in our area, and my load proportion valve busted away from my frame.
Fucking Gary.
It was
Gary.
Gary.
I think I was over flexing, so it like pulled it from the frame, but it exposed a hole in my frame, so we just capped and boxed it in and just
Yep.
overkilled it.
Sure. For strength, right?
Well, it's been 2 years now, and you guys have seen what I put it through, so it's holding up all right.
Have you only had the Yoda for you? For wheeling?
Yep, that's the first. Well, because we stem from the RC community, right? So after you build so many of those, spend so much money on those, you're like, why not just build a real truck? So
Yeah.
after we got married, we decided we were going to buy a truck and start doing that together.
Who, you and Gary?
Me and my
Gary,
wife.
Gary makes a
Okay.
handsome bride.
But he was an instigator because he was building daily at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of
I
like
still beat him though. I got to go out before
I
him.
didn't know it was a race, but yeah, I get it.
Everything's a race.
It wasn't a race. It's always competition.
It's always
Yeah.
a race.
It's always a pissing match.
But you had Jeeps before you
Yep.
bought the Yoda. So what Jeeps did you
And
have?
I had a bunch of Grand Cherokees, and then I switched to the TJ World for a little bit. Had 2 of them.
I'm sorry, you bought a TJ.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the thing
Built-
is, he's owned multiple Jeeps at this point. I want to know why you've had to own multiple Jeeps.
Because I'm hard on them and I like mud
Yeah,
and deep
that's
water. That's what I found.
You seen him out on the 4-wheeler today.
Yeah.
And
That was cool.
That was pretty. There was a few times it was pretty intense. I was when you
I thought you were
almost
gonna
lost
flip.
it. Yeah, when you almost lost it, I was like, who saves him now?
I could like barely see you past whoever was in front of me. I'm like, oh, it was flip.
Like you said, it was essentially 2 ledges.
yeah,
One would buck you, and then one would try to. And even when you backed it up on this far ledge, just to go forward, you had to kind of hold the bike, and I was like, that thing's gonna kill him. Like,
and it pushes you where it wants to go.
sure.
Like my 150 pounds
How
to
much that
its
machine weigh?
1,000 pounds.
It's a heavy bike.
And it wants to, yeah. It's funny, that's the one thing we noticed today when we're watching the quads do their thing, yourself as well. It seems as though the body takes a lot of the shock, but then the suspension, it's working obviously, but it doesn't seem to be working like you would
Looks
think.
stiff.
Yeah.
It always looks very
It's just
stiff.
like, like, what about an air ride quad? Everyone ever considered that? That'd be sick. Like, it would just,
I feel like it would be very jarring in the shoulders.
yeah. Like, power steering.
Power
I was going
steering.
to say,
Yeah.
because I imagine that's a game
That'd be
changer.
so nice.
Because then you don't get that direct feedback when
Yeah.
you just didn't see that rock.
And turning and hitting down the trail, it's effortlessly to.
I don't know
Move
how
it
many
around.
times I jam my shoulder on ATVs because no power steering. Like you say, you're going along and didn't see that route.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the catalyst or whatever, like the part that they needed to change right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. So that's so first time at Ardbeg, right?
Second.
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 I was up here about 5 years ago.
Okay,
Didn't do much.
sure. Do you
But-
remember which way you went? Did you go that way?
I don't think I went that way.
Okay, because the last time we were here and we went deep in the north end?
North, yeah.
That was quite a 4-wheeler trail.
That was a 4-wheeler trail, yeah.
There was quite a bit that got really, really tight a few instances.
Yeah.
That would have been a 4-wheeler trail for like Gary when he had his Raptor.
Yeah.
His Rap.
Yeah, it was quite a distance between any kind of an obstacle.
Yeah.
And then the obstacles you would see would be a decent little washout shelf that's like a little bit sort of off camber. Yeah, it was all right. And of course, we were joking about that last year when we were here, we only went on that the South Trail so far
Yeah.
and
So
turned
we didn't
around.
go very far when we turned around because we went so far this way.
Yeah, we wasted our day going up there just seeing.
That's still
Well,
fun,
not
though.
wasted, but
I was just
We
saying,
still
it was
had a
still
good
fun.
day.
Yeah,
but-
utilized. Yeah.
yeah.
And it was a lot nicer. Although it's not as hot this time around. Last year we didn't have air conditioning,
Yes.
and
Congratulations
Some of
on your air conditioning.
Right? I was really proud about that.
Show offs.
yeah, show off.
Did
Well,
you hear
Nick was-
Nick on the radio today? Oh, I don't remember last year. I was just so cold.
Wearing all black, window open,
Yeah.
windows down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
AC
turned my
crack.
vents on and I just turned it to cold and it was like, oh, that's doing something.
Yeah, it's getting a
Moving
hot
air.
draft. Eh?
It's
Yeah.
moving air. That's good. It's not stale in here anymore.
Oh,
No AC gain.
I'm glad that we have AC this year, although we haven't needed it. Actually,
True.
since we fixed it, we haven't needed much of it because it's cooled down for the summer.
Yeah,
So.
it's been mild. Now, what about obstacles? Like, so I seen you like water and mud and a little bit of like the hills and off camber. But how do you find it? Do you find it uncomfortably tippy when you get into some of the ones that you just hit no problem in the taco?
For the ATV,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that wheelbase is tremendously different. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
and
comparison. Right?
It does. It likes to lift the tires before
Yep.
flexing,
Yes.
Yeah.
so you kind of watch your lines more.
It's a lot easier to jump off of one of those if you do get a little bit too far, though.
Yeah.
But it's probably pretty similar too because it's got a solid rear axle, so it's pretty similar to the Tacoma in that sense, right?
It's independent.
It is independent.
It's
yeah.
all independent.
Yeah.
Crap.
I guess. Yeah, they've been changing.
Shows what I know.
Well, you weren't directly behind them.
So Hondas, I think you can still get a Honda with a solid rear.
Most Hondas.
Most
are
Hondas
solid-
except for the
solid.
Rincon, right?
Yeah. Don't fix what's not broken. Honda doesn't mess around.
But that's about the only one.
Yeah.
Maybe Suzuki used to be able to, but I don't know if you can
I
anymore.
think they're more independent now.
Yeah.
Which you get a softer ride and it's easier on your back because the wishbone helps take
Yeah.
more of the abuse. It's not bashing you around so much.
Yeah. But if you're a farmer and you're using it for work all the time, you want that Honda.
Yeah, because
for the
don't they
solid-
have usually the ball? It's hooked right on the rear diff.
Yeah.
And then it's like that's your hitching point.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so you're not introducing any weight onto your suspension, whereas with the independent suspension,
It's all.
then it's all.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
I hadn't even thought of
suspension.
that actually.
Yeah.
Huh. I know they
Sun's
got.
starting to come out.
Yeah, it's not. It's. Well, we've had a kind of a mixed bag of
It's
weather.
been a good day though. You know,
The rain held off
Yes.
after we started.
it did get humid there for a little bit after we were taking the group photos and stuff. I noticed when we started moving again, it started getting
Yeah, I was
hot.
happy to get
I was
back
feeling
into
sticky
the
and-
AC.
I was like, oh, and then my music wasn't
Yeah.
working. It's like, oh, stupid
That's a knife.
Android
I was,
crap.
I was worried about you. Like when you backed up, and then you're like, I'm going to go forward. I'm like, he found the one spot that was just like a
In
two
the
shelves.
field of flat rock, I found the one spot where my Jeep just went whoop.
Whoop. And now I'm stuck. I'm
Yeah.
spinning.
Yeah, so I just had to keep backing up.
More backing.
Yeah. My immediate thought was like, oh no, I got to get pulled out again.
Yeah, we were
Say twice
perfectly
in one day.
Twice in
lined
one-
up for a bungee.
Yeah.
But that pull out earlier, that wasn't even much at all. It just needed a direct line pull.
I think it was more or less when he started like tugging on it and he had his wheels spinning and put weight down on his front end.
That's
which
all it
allowed-
needed
That's all it
was the
needed. Just
weight.
need the weight.
Yeah.
So the pull
Yeah.
sucked the suspension down and pulled.
I see nobody was offering to ride my hood for me though.
Weird. Yeah. Hood ornaments. Nothing can go wrong there.
Yeah. Nothing.
Did you feel it? Wait, like, did you bottom out? Like, you felt it on the chassis going up that obstacle?
yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say because with your wheels just in the air, one in an undercut, one in the air,
Yeah.
butt on the ground. Wait a
Yeah.
minute,
No,
I'm not
I
going
was-
nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's tonight. That's a little shout out to our Kinetic, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Afraid Not did. It worked out really well. You said you barely even felt it pulling, so.
Yeah. I felt the tension, but not the jerking.
That's huge. We got to. Oh, we do have to go back to the Stairway to Heaven there,
Yeah. Later today.
and then the big sort of like lunar landing.
Yeah.
Steps and shelves and stuff. There's a lot of good. Oh, and then again, what about that spot? Remember that one little spot where we stopped and got firewood? Remember that little section there where we had Ciota and so on? Yeah. Just off of where the Jeep was, there's this sort of hill climb, and there was one tire tracks that was there. And I was thinking, man, we should try to get everyone to go through here. And I'm like, oof, this is not gladiator friendly. We do not need to go up here. Yeah, so I was gonna say, do you want to cover the group we have today, like for the whole the cold conga line that we had?
Well, it's Taco Tuesday.
Taco
Say we're
Tuesdays.
talking about tacos.
Yeah.
But we have more than just like the two tacos.
We do have more than just the two
We have 3
tacos.
tacos.
We have
Three.
3 tacos.
We have 3 tacos, and the third taco is at camp because it's got a Napier tent in the back of it.
Yeah, one of our other sponsors.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
one of
sponsor.
our other sponsors.
Ding,
and
ding.
It's, yeah, and it's a good tent. Stayed dry throughout the rain last night.
And you like the fact you can stand up in it, right? That's your
I can stand up bent over in that one. Yeah, that's really nice.
Because you have a tent. You have the, like in the back.
And you're how tall?
You have.
That's important to
5'10" ish.
Yeah.
I was saying you have the one that's on like a deck on the back of yours.
Rooftop.
We have the
Rooftop.
bed rack with the rooftop tent.
And you had like a full camper in the back of
I
yours.
had
originally.
a construction cap on
Contractor's
the
cap.
back, contractor's cap, and then I had a diesel heater, 4,000 volt eliminator, double batteries in there, and with the 4-wheeler until I get a trailer, I had to sacrifice the cap.
Which I wish you're probably wishing you had last night.
Yeah.
So it was pretty wet last night.
That diesel heater would have been.
Well, I
nice.
probably would have had his blankets, his pillows.
Exactly.
And a nice firm bed that was as level as you want it to be.
And a diesel
right?
heater. Which you probably didn't need. It was pretty warm last night, actually.
No, but I could have used them to dry my clothes today
Fair.
after the mud.
Fair.
I was gonna say you.
Well, I mean, we could set up some dry clotheslines. And
I was
there's
gonna
a
say,
lot
it's
of things you can hang your clothes
It's
off
a
of
sweet
here.
hair dryer, eh? Like it's good and
Yeah.
hot and lots of flow, and yeah, that's something that we might end up with the garage just because it's such an easy install.
And
Yeah,
you
you can
see
get
a
them on
lot
Amazon
of
really cheap,
guys
too.
using them as garage heaters.
Really.
Yeah.
And they're so compact. They're efficient, and they're very affordable for what they
Yeah.
are. Got to go for the big one, right? 8,000 kilowatt or whatever. it is?
Yeah.
BTU, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I would say that you're probably right on point, but 8,000 BTU doesn't
It's-
sound like much.
Mine's class in 8,000K.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
I actually learned what BTU stands for the other day. It's like,
British thermal units.
yep, I didn't know that.
Oh well, now you know.
Oh, well, I said
Now
I
everybody
learned the
knows.
other
Now
day.
everybody knows.
Say learned something new there.
The lift on your taco. What is it? I'm very curious about that because we have one.
It's not space
So there is some spacer in there, bit of leveling kit. Like I said, I'm cheap,
Yes.
Me too.
50.
so
Me too.
50.
I've done the Rancho adjustable shocks in the front, which are leveling shocks,
Okay.
and then I did a 2-inch leveling block on top of that.
Okay.
Then I have,
Blocks in there.
for the rear, I have a 3-inch level block on 2 leaves to hold the extra weight.
Oh, with your
Wow.
camper and
Wow.
everything.
Wow.
So because it hauls your quad and your camper like nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know you put it in there.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, my truck's only got the Bilstein 5100s with the Old Man Emu 882 coil springs up front.
That's
and
what
it's only set to level,
Yeah.
not lifted. Just kept it simple, kept it low.
And that's what you told me I should get for Cheryl's when we got it, right? The Bilsteins?
Yeah. I mean, what I would do is try to find some Fox takeouts from someone's TRD Pro.
Yeah,
I would do that first.
I could do that. Well, we'll see what insurance says about all the
Because,
hail
those
damage
guys with
first.
more money than brains take out good suspension to put in crappy suspension.
Yeah.
Because they just have the option to upgrade it.
Yeah. TRD Pro, I want to lift. Let's get a rough country lift. Rip out the
Oh,
The
yeah.
good stuff.
the
With
stuff
the
that
big,
you paid the extra money
with the
for.
big control
Yes.
arm drop spacer thing in the front, the big air dam. Oh, that's what I wanted to avoid. That's why I didn't lift my truck anymore. I did not want to drop my diff. I didn't want to put strains on my CV joints. I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to keep it function. I still wanted it to be a Toyota, right?
Yeah. That's the thing about independent front is you got.
Yes, it holds me back
CV
with certain
angles.
obstacles and stuff because my ground clearance isn't totally there, as well as I got a longer wheelbase. But overall, it still does its job. It is a Toyota in every sense of that word.
Hey, just pick your line a little differently.
And it does it all while getting 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
See,
get
Willie-
double that.
See,
So,
Willie wasn't doing great coming up here.
But
No.
you made great time.
well, that might have been the 135 on the highway.
No,
Yeah.
It had nothing to
it
do
wasn't a 110.
It wasn't a 110, so it was only
Yeah.
what 25 over.
25 over.
Yeah,
And
not in a construction zone either.
And the flow of traffic was still blowing your
Oh,
door.
yeah, I know, I was still getting
Yeah,
doors
problem.
blowing our doors off.
All the Audi SUVs and Teslas.
Yeah,
Oh, all the Teslas, man. I was
Lots of them.
asking my wife, I was bitching about it. I'm like, look at these Tesla drivers. All of a sudden, like, they come up on your ass and they cut into somebody at the last second because they realize I'm only doing 95 screaming in fourth gear.
Yeah, because it
And-
was a hill.
yeah. It wasn't even a hill. It's just, that's it.
so when I was driving up last night, I was going along and there was a bike behind me. He was a little close, but not too bad. And I come up behind a vehicle and they're going just slower than you. So like if you're doing 110 and they're doing 106 or something like that, right? So just letting off, and I was waiting for the bike to go out around me because he was riding my ass. And for a couple of minutes, like we're just there in a line, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go out around him. I signal to go out around him. Well, that's when the bike decides to go past me.
Really?
Yeah. And I signaled, started moving because there was nobody in that lane, and I don't know if he didn't see me or whatever, but he made a big wide thing and flipped me off. I'm like, okay.
I did get flipped off once, which is surprising because the way people were going around us was actually scary.
Yeah, well, we had a
Even
little,
transport trucks, like, whoa. It's
Yeah,
like,
but
ugh.
your Tacoma, it's not.
It was never built for speed.
And with that sail on the rack too, it doesn't.
No, it's
help.
below the roofline.
Is it?
Yeah, that's why I mounted it the way I did. I wanted to, because I tried to work with that thing, right?
Sure.
So I needed to keep it down as low as possible. So that's actually why, if you look at the bed rack,
Can't
the
tell if it's
basket's
wind or
actually
rain.
flipped upside down.
Oh.
I actually flipped it so that not only will the rooftop tent sit flat on all the rails, but also sits that like 2 inches lower and actually goes below my roof line.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it might stick up like, I don't know, an inch if you look at it dead on, but it's like barely anything.
Yeah. Well, like
2
you said,
inches?
it's not being in the wind. It's not.
It's not a big
zapping
air
more
dam,
speed,
yeah. It's not a big deal. And then if I got my sunroof open, well, then it just deflects a little bit too, right? It kind of compensates.
So your hair can blow. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it, man. With no AC, you gotta open all the windows.
I was gonna say, do what you can, right?
Those little wing windows on the back extra cab portion there
Oh, they're
are
cool.
very important.
Yeah, it
they're-
draws the
they're-
air right out.
Well, if you have them closed and you have your windows down, you get that whoa, 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 right?
Yeah.
Because it creates that whirlwind behind. But if that's open, it just straight in, straight out.
Oh, nice.
You get like a really nice breeze, actually, as long as you're moving.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in traffic, you're gonna want to take a shower when you get home.
Maybe steam clean the seats.
Yeah, maybe.
see, I'm not sure if you guys touched on it while I ducked off to check on the kids, but did you guys talk about the tunes? Because you were talking about tunes last night
No.
when we were coming in. Because you were saying that Cheryl's Taco has, like, it hunts for gear.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gear hunting a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
Get the
I
Yoda
have
tune.
The, yeah,
Meet up with
I
him,
have
it's
the
worth
Yoda
it.
tune.
Yeah, it's worth it.
and
Yeah.
night and day difference. Fuel economy, torque.
Just
It
everything.
stops the gear hunting
Yeah.
so much, and there's so many out. The dealership they can't see it. So if you go in for warranty work or they can't really see it, so nothing's said.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess that's the point you got to kind of be careful with is the warranty.
Yeah, well, that was my thing
perspective,
because I did want to get a tune for it, but I wanted to wait until the warranty was done. If the dealer can't,
It's just
see
kind
it.
of upsetting that Toyota, being Toyota, wouldn't just be like, okay, so we've noticed that people are complaining about this issue with the new Tacomas. If
Especially
you want
when
to bring
it
it
can be
in, we
fixed
will
with a
flash
tune,
it.
yeah.
And we'll tune it by Toyota, so it would be Toyota
Yeah.
tuned,
Yeah.
not some guy that just has made a program to do it.
Their actual, I
actually
don't know
his
what.
history.
He doesn't make them. He buys them from someone else, but I think they're tested by Toyota
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
in that aspect.
That's cool.
That is neat,
Because
yeah.
some of the things that mine fix that the new one has is the same tune. It just doesn't have the full tune.
Okay, so they probably don't change the engine at all,
No.
but it would just update the trans.
Yeah.
Give
So
it a roadmap for
all
life.
it is a computer tune.
Okay.
You pull up there 5 minutes, he plugs his truck in, and then says, "Okay, go take it for a test drive."
And then you're like, just
And
hush up
night
and
and
take my
day
money.
difference.
It's pretty cool how he does it. Like, there's the Toyota enthusiast clubs that they hold in Milton. They usually just keep a spot next to his truck open so people can just hand him cash and
Yeah.
he plugs
Yeah.
it
What
in.
is it? $300-400?
That I can't quote you on.
I
'cause
paid
haven't got it.
$250.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't do it.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can plug it in all you want, but nothing's gonna
They're not gonna
change.
do nothing.
Yeah.
No, my truck's too old.
It's still the nut
That's
behind the
worth
wheel
it.
that's
You say
doing
it
the gear
helps with
station.
mileage too.
My
Yeah.
truck is as analog goes.
With my big tires on it and that, I can get 610K to a tank.
The speedo's corrected, yeah.
That's basically what we get with out of the
I was
factory
hoping to
with
see that
factory
FJ up
tires.
there. I was hoping to see
Sick.
it. Yeah, that whole thing was rad, man.
How about the International Harvester? The
I saw
Scout?
that too. The Scout. I saw the Scout. I pointed out. I went, look, there's a fucking Scout right there.
Yeah, pulling the tent trailer.
Yeah.
I think that was the lifted tent trailer.
No, that one was behind his ZJ.
Oh, that's right.
The
But I
picture
think,
that Gary took yesterday.
which is sweet because
That's
it looked
pretty
as
rad.
though they carved it out. Like remember that wheel well problem that we had with ours, and we're like, should we do it and just keep jacking it up? But I wouldn't want to go too much higher.
What tires did we buy for the trailer that are supposed to go on it?
So they were very optimistic. So the idea was, we show up at this guy's house and he has a bunch of new old stock, and he's a little anxious to get rid of them because he's like, these tires are just sitting here, blah blah.
And
And
it was 3, which is perfect for us.
yeah, they were the original Baja Claws.
Nice.
So they're just a cool V tread,
yeah, I know the
save
Baja
a private
Claws,
Ryan.
yeah.
Yeah,
Super,
they're still
super
awesome.
rad tire, actually.
So you had 3 of them, and then you had 4 rims.
Actually, one of my favorite tires.
Well, it kind of gives you that throwback to like Top Truck Challenge back in like
Yeah.
2005. Like just it's cool. But anyhow, so we had 3 of them, and they were 33s, right? And it was a smoking deal, cash deal. Come pick them up, come for a visit. And we show up there, and on our way up there, we give him a call, and he's like, "Oh, you should have let me know. I would have dug them out." I'm like, well, "Buddy, we're like 2 hours away. Like you got plenty of time, right?" Thinking that if I said, "Hey, I need to borrow something from you," you'll only have so many things. You're going to be able to find it within 2 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I'll see you then, right? And then we show up there, and he's not even remotely ready, and he's like, "Yeah, help me look through all these different piles," because he has got stacks of this and stacks of that, and he had some Mickey Thompson MTZs on rims that were blown up, and it looked awesome, Well, we did not find the the Baja Claws, and he has these ST.
What size?
They were 33, so 33, 12, 5.
So you can
15.
fit 33s on the trailers. What do you think?
No,
No.
maybe.
Maybe.
The original idea
Not yet.
was
Not yet.
Make
yeah.
them fit.
well, to a point, because it's like the trailer itself was a resto mod, so it needed a lot of repairs just to get it up to scratch before we even modified. But anyhow, the idea was to do we could easily do an axle flip, weld on the purchase, could do from a spring over to a spring under, and then change the hubs out to a 5 on 4.5, throw these wheels and tires on. Well, when we get home, I'll touch back on how this all came about, but we took a chance, and the guy's like, well, I'll give you the same price or $100 more on these 35, 12, 5, 15. So we're like, 35s. You know, and I was like sick to my stomach. I'm
35.
like I do not think these are gonna fit. You know, like I'm picturing how big this small tire is. You know, sure enough, we get it home and put it beside it, and Ashton's like, Daddy, that's not gonna fit. How is this gonna fit? And I was like, well, my 7-year-old child knew more than 2 grown-ass men in, you know. So, yeah, so anyhow, so the 35 12.5 Interco STSs, it's a beautiful tire. It'd be incredible for it. There's a chrome wheel.
Incredible for the trailer, incredible for sand, no good for anything else.
Potentially, right? I don't know. I bet you they air down real good. Like,
maybe, yeah.
But,
sidewalls.
yeah, so anyhow, it was 2 guys in their 50s, and they convinced me to buy them. So that's how that all came to pass, because we couldn't find the ones that we wanted.
Yeah.
So there was another option up there. There was it was on that's another thing. He didn't have wheels. He didn't have 16-inch wheels, but there was like a 255 85 16, and they were the Intercore Thornbirds, which, as we know on Greg's trailer, is a cool trailer tire, you know, and that would be the next potential.
Have you seen Mabel's mobility scooter?
No, I have not.
Oh, I love it.
It looks sweet.
Oh yeah,
It is
that's
really-
a
It's
really
tandem
sweet
action,
trailer.
right?
Yeah.
Tandem?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're 31 or 33-inch wide tire.
I'm saying, I don't know what they are. But
I think
nice.
they're 31s.
They're a beefy tire, and they fill up those
Voids.
arches pretty well.
And the custom fenders and this whole 9 yards. But yeah, so anyhow, moral story, we on the way up, we kind of decided, after we kept raising the hitch on the Jeep, because we brought that thing up like 4.5 inches. That's a big difference in an old trailer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But it's hilarious. Like on the way in, we were just joking about how it would have been underwater in some of those spots.
Would have been underwater. You
Yeah.
would have been dragging across
Yeah.
rocks and.
You have to make some armor
And
for it.
the Toyota really would have had to push us up the hill.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was hilarious how when we were dragging that thing in compared to when we were dragging that TJ in,
Yeah.
and we were just in low range. I guess I don't know. It didn't feel that much different, but it would not do it in 2-wheel drive high. That's for sure. We're just like,
Yeah, going up that hill.
and now we're done. We're done here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Just it's a big tire, and I don't think it's gonna fit.
That sucks.
And to circle back to what we were saying, that one that you guys had, the Grand Cherokee, it looked as though the guy re-arched, like he carved out, you know, the dinette, the floor, everything else, and kind of must have armored it back up.
Yeah, a lot of those guys don't use a lot of like the gimmicks that come in them, like the stove and the fridge and stuff. They gut all that stuff because, well, it just makes more space inside for one.
Sure.
Mhm.
It makes it lighter for 2, and most people don't use it anyways.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fair.
You know, most people have coolers or they have like a standalone stove like you brought, right?
Mhm.
Even though it came out of one of those trailers, I mean, it still wasn't attached to that trailer.
Yes.
True. Yeah,
So-
it's all just weight.
I do love the funky designs inside. I
Did
did
you
look.
take a look in?
It sucks that they painted the canvas, but you know what? I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It is interesting. I
You
think
are
it's-
from
it's a
BC,
cool
so
vibe.
it's,
I was
I
just
feel like
saying.
they're
There's aliens
hippie
and a
in me.
phoenix having a battle going on and like a black hole, so it's really intense in there.
And we hadn't. This is
I
our
don't hate
first.
it.
This is our first time in the trailer, like first time spending it in the trailer. So this morning when I woke up and you could see the light hitting it,
It's like, oh Jesus, hey.
he was like oh,
Jesus is there, he's at our head.
just like patting us on the head. Unwed children, all right. But then there's aliens. There was this perfect little spaceship, you know, coming in for
well, that's how
Roll.
Jesus got there.
oh yeah, that's it. So
The boys' side is nice. They have the mountains and everything like that. That's at least a not bad side. Our side leaves a lot to be desired, but
I just find it weird. They actually painted the canvas. Like,
and they
everything.
and they chose dark colors.
Hmm.
Like if they had painted, you know, clouds and stars, that would have been excellent. Well, I guess not stars because you'd want it bright, but you know what I mean, like
There's
clouds.
a lot of glitter.
Yeah.
There's lots of
Oh.
glitter. Yeah, it's
Oh.
all in the fabric too. If you
I-
actually,
I suddenly changed my opinion. It sucks. I
the
hate
moon
glitter.
scene has glitter all through it, and so does the sun.
They probably use those
And-
glitter markers or whatever. I bet.
Oh yeah, after some mushrooms, they.
Oh, shiny! Sparkles.
The part that probably the most irritating part for me is when we put the tent trailer up, like we erect it, we pop out the things, you know, the beds, and then pop out the canvas, is that the paint chips off a little bit,
Yes.
and then it leaves residual, and I'm just like, oh, come on, guys, like, so that's irritating.
Well, I
So
have.
my question is, when you went to go purchase this thing, at first glance, what was your thought?
Sold.
Shit. I love this Picasso.
The woman they listed it on Kijiji that morning, or
Yeah.
that early morning. Early afternoon, and we went that day, and no questions asked. Here's your $600, because trailers of older, shittier, moldier condition
Yeah.
are going for 1,000.
Yeah,
So
fair. Well, that's the same thing with our rooftop tent. Was my wife was, I think you were doing the dishes, and I was just sitting there on my computer. I'm like, I don't, because we're talking about like tent trailers and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, screw it. Marketplace, oh nothing. Went on Kijiji, and boom, there it was, $800. 4 minutes listed. I'll come get it this evening. Boom, sold. Went and bought it.
yeah,
$800.
no
got
questions
rooftop.
asked.
No questions asked.
Yeah. You don't even hackle. You just say, listen, you're giving me a fair deal. Here's your money.
Well, it just, I knew, like when you look at like the Smitty built and like the Airbnb and like all the actual brand name tents, it's like, yeah, they're really nice and they're really high quality, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's still just a tent.
True.
As long as you're not getting wet, you have a place to lay your head, and it's keeping you away from these massive mosquitoes out here. Who cares?
Didn't you say that yours is kind of almost like a Smitty built?
Pretty similar, yeah. There's
Yeah.
some differences. I think the difference is our entryway is actually fully attached and enclosed.
Mm-hmm.
The Smitty built one, if I remember correctly, it just had like a,
Like a vestibule?
is that what that's called? Where you put the rods up and it just has like a cover over the entrance.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So ours is actually like enclosed. It's almost like a
Okay.
foyer kind of.
Yeah.
And we can get the annex, but truck sits too low in the truck to bother with an annex. And the annex that's for it doesn't actually have a built-in floor. It's still the ground, so like it kind of defeats the purpose.
So that's where you would take your shoes off and stuff. And
Yeah, you can leave them down there. You can keep your cooler in there and stuff like that.
that's cool.
Yeah, it completely encloses the underside part that sticks out from the truck. Like it completely goes in up against the truck and everything. It just encloses the It could be a change room, could be a bathroom, could be whatever you want to.
That's
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Oh, I just,
use your
I'm
imagination. It's extra space.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard people letting their kids
Mini
sleep in
corral?
them?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Some of them are
that's
big
right.
enough, like with like other better quality rooftop tents. You can literally like have like a room for your kids or your dog
Oh,
in
that's a
that
big one.
annex. You know, like stuff like that. But we weighed it out, and it's like truck doesn't sit tall enough, so it's just gonna be crinkly at the bottom. It's still gonna be the ground, so if it does rain and run by there, your shoes and stuff are still gonna wash away. So
Yeah.
we kind of just went, no thanks.
Yeah, until you do like double T cases and solid axle swaps. Yeah, the height's staying where it is.
So into
Eventually.
that, what
Yeah,
are you gonna do
Toyotas.
next to your truck?
Me? Well, where I'm at now is I would like to do onboard air.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of the big things. Actually, I was going to do the onboard air until I bought the rooftop tent.
That's
I weighed out the differences, and building a truck on a budget, having 3 kids, stay-at-home mom, and just making everything work.
Yeah.
You got to pick and choose what you're going to do. So this year ended up being the rooftop tent, and I got absolutely no regrets because we've used that more than I probably would have used the air lockers or the
Yeah.
air compressor at
Yeah.
this point. So I would like to find a e-locker rear axle at some point. There's got to be one somewhere for my truck. It's got to exist.
What era could you use? The later model?
First gen. You got the TRDs, like the pre-runners, so the two-wheel drive trucks came with factory e-lockers.
Okay.
So I can get an entire rear axle for my truck that has
That's
e-locker
just
in
plug
it.
and play.
Yep, you just have to
Same
wire it up.
gear ratio.
Well, that wouldn't matter because I could switch mine if I had to, or I could
Yeah, you
upgrade at
can
the same time.
re-gear to something a little.
If I
taller.
was gonna go that ham
shorter.
with it, it would obviously make sure that I was gonna, because I should be re-gearing anyways, because the 33s, like I said, like
I wasn't
30
gonna
or
say
50 is
anything.
useless. Well, no, I'm transparent. But yeah, the way I have my truck set up does have some drawbacks for sure. Rust being one.
As we live in Canada,
that's light-
unfortunately,
that's-
everything
That's
is.
weight reduction.
That's that era of Toyota in general.
Well,
But
like you
it-
said, 28 years old. Like it's had its time.
I mean, it's in pretty good shape.
Those things
considering.
used to rust coming off the boat.
Actually, wrong because it's a North American truck.
Where did they build those?
Don't quote me on this, but I want to say Tacoma, Washington.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting if it actually was.
Because I remember
That's what I was thinking. Oddly, that was the first thing that popped into
I
my
wish I
mind
had
was
an
Tacoma.
actual answer because I'm not 100% sure because I know it's
Can we
not
get a
Mexico,
fact check
but
on that?
it is North America.
Yeah, she's on it. She's on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I remember there was a little time
I think
there
there was 2 plants where they were built. I think one was Mexico and one was in the United States.
The lack of service might be saving you on this
True.
one. So
Because I remember there was kind of.
Hey,
a
I already
talk
saved my
about-
ass by saying don't quote me on this.
Oh, true. No, that's
Yeah.
That's
our,
fair.
You can go check the door jam or go check somewhere. I might tell you.
our.
I know yours are built in
It's Mexico.
Mexico.
Just across the border.
Yeah.
Or Canada.
Or Canada?
Mine is stamped
Really?
with a Canada tag.
There is some in Canada.
in
Well, because there's a
Cambridge?
Toyota, there's a
Or
in
wherever
London.
it is.
There's
London,
two.
yeah.
There's two.
Where it
There's
is,
two.
but yeah.
And then there's a new one in Bowmanville.
2021, they went from San Antonio to Mexico.
Okay, but 95, first gen Tacoma.
Yeah, that's going back.
Service issue.
So, yeah, untested, gotta be true.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing with my truck is it's a North American truck, right? It's not the Hilux, which I mean everybody here would probably take a Hilux.
I would take it. I would take
Uh,
it.
You'd be an idiot not to want a Hilux,
Yep.
and that's not even because of what Whistle and Diesel put it through. I mean, it's what Jeremy Clarkson did.
Dropped a building on it.
Yeah, dropped it from with a building. But anyways, like I don't know, it's a Toyota in every essence of the word, and I love the damn thing. And I turn down offers for people to buy it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, last weekend we were up camping. We were sitting there, and I had a beer in my hand, and some guy's walking by. He had his kid on his shoulders. He's like, "You want to sell that?" Nope.
No.
Well, if you change your mind, I'm camped over there. Well, we can discuss. I'm like, that's not for sale.
I was gonna say because you probably looked for a while before you got that one.
I mean, I was on and off looking, and it was more or less of like a fever dream, you know. I didn't really have the money to buy one at the time I was looking, but I always kept my eyes open for one to pop up that was right, and then the time came up that I could buy one, and we looked hard. I was on my honeymoon, and I was on Kijiji Mortar, and I spent time with my wife trying to find a truck.
Yeah, that's a very geared.
I'm
up
on the
thing.
other side of the country in British Columbia visiting family, and there I am, like, where's this Tacoma? I need to find one.
That's fair. If I was in BC, I would be looking
Yes.
for something to buy.
And it
too.
sucked because
Drive home.
Yeah.
no, but it sucked because they don't exist out here. And out there, you drive around, and there, like every second house had an old Toyota pickup or an
Because
old
they haven't
4Runner.
rotted away. Out there.
No, they
They
don't.
lived a life.
They don't use salt out there, man.
There's
Well,
that
you don't
burgundy
use
one
snow.
kicking around town. You see
Yes,
that
they
one?
do.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a
What they do
really good
is
shape.
they plow the roads, but they don't put it down to the pavement, and then they put sand on top of that
Yeah.
layer of snow.
The same as Alberta. Right?
Yeah. So it's like, you would think it's like, oh, it's dangerous to drive over these mountain passes. It's like, actually, that's probably safer because you put snow tires on your car to drive in the snow.
Yeah.
Your snow tires are not really engineered to be efficient on pavement, especially
Well,
in
we
warmer
might have a
temperatures.
fact check answer.
Oh yeah, it's
Fremont, California.
Fremont, California.
So it is a North American built truck.
January 1995 to August 2004.
Yep, that's the era. Yep.
wow, California.
And the 4-doors were only available in an automatic. That's a quick tip too.
Are you sure?
Absolutely, 110%. Yep, the 4-doors. So from 2001 to 2004, the 4-doors, first gen like my truck, only could get an automatic. Didn't matter if it was 4-cylinder, pre-runner, didn't matter.
Man.
So if you see one with a 5-speed, somebody's converted it.
What about they didn't have sixes?
6-speed?
Yeah.
That was all automatic. Yep.
Yeah, because there was because I did my my co-op in like 2001, and there was this the shark tooth ones, so that must have been the last of that body style, right?
Maybe.
Like the grill looked like it was modernized because you know how they had the ones that the headlights were big and then they went a little bit smaller and they got a cool shark tooth grill.
Oh, I think that's
Yeah.
aftermarket. So it's actually
I think so. I think so. Yeah. Again, you have to fact check, but I remember seeing the 4-door with this tiny little cab, and I could have swore out on a stack of Bibles that it had a manual, because I was like, "This is the coolest," and it was owned by a firefighter.
It's
So
like that
then
truck.
Yeah, that's it. The shark tooth grill.
Yeah, zoom in on that.
Yeah, zooming. What's with all the? Oh, it's
Yeah,
the
there's ladders on
sandboards.
the. Yeah, it's like, that was kind of.
Wow.
He's got all the camo wrap to cover up his clear coat peel.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah, but those trucks only automatic. He actually, when I met that guy, I told him too. He's like, "Yeah, I had to get the automatic." I'm like, "Well, if you had to get a 4-door, you was your only option anyways." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, it just wasn't a thing."
oh boy. That's
And then the second gens, you could.
Yeah.
They made it possible. And then even the new ones that they're releasing, they're
The fourth gen.
They
is
kept it-
whatever, yeah.
they kept the manual for the enthusiast, as they said.
At least an optioning.
Yeah.
I imagine certain configurations only, right?
Which Dodge did that. Very handy.
True. Yeah, I think the only Dodge manual is like a 1-ton freaking Hemi in Mexico, in Brazil.
The only thing that bugs me about the new generation's Tacomas is they eliminated the single cab.
Really?
So you
Nobody's
can't,
buying a single cab truck anymore, though.
Yeah, but when you think about it, for me at least, I look back at the old Toyotas, it's like the single cabs is like what you saw, like the extra cabs. I mean, you could get the custom cabs and, you know, you get the Chinooks and the Dolphins and all that stuff too. But, I don't know, the purists would want a single cab in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, you want
There's
that single
that-
cab, short bed,
There's that
5
red,
speed, 6
there's
speed.
that red cab short box 4x4 kicking around town.
Yeah.
It's like the gray and white one with like Forerunner style wheels and big tires.
Well, there was that one that we seen on online that you sent me, or Sarah sent me. Guess how much this is?
Exactly.
With the frame that's rotted out.
It had no frame.
Yeah.
It's
We
actually
wanted
disgusting.
$7,000 for it.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, cause I still look, like every once in a while I'll pop on Marketplace and I'll just look up Tacoma and see what's available. You know, you never know something like a bed. Like I need a bed for my truck. You know, I'm always looking for a bed. You
What's
know.
the southern bed? It's gotta be $2,200, $2,500.
Actually, I found some guy that was down towards Niagara. And he actually had one. It was white, rust-free, with tail lights, everything. He only wanted $600 for it.
Sold.
I don't know. I just didn't have the
$600.
means to go get it in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? It was just like piss poor timing to go fetch it.
And every other Toyota enthusiast is like, I'm coming.
I mean, I'm always
that's
up
if
for
they're
an
looking
evening
for it.
trip to Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I would need a trailer though too, right?
So you wouldn't just take your bed off and rip down?
Definitely not.
Definitely.
I wouldn't do that.
No?
No.
Your truck would be so like smooth.
It
and
hops
power-
around enough. It weighs nothing.
You'd finally be able to do a burnout.
Probably
Maybe,
not. It's gutless.
maybe.
Drive through a puddle and 5,000 dumps. What?
But I see like the Tacomas, and it's just ridiculous, like the prices that people are asking for them. And you're like, you ask them, like, well, how's the frame on the truck? Like, oh, it's soft in a few spots. I'm like, and you still want 10 grand for it? Are you on glue?
They're as bad as, well, I would say Jeeps are as bad as Toyotas.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they're so desirable. It's like
Mm-hmm.
people are like they almost don't care. They're like, okay, it's available, it exists, I'll work with it. That's pretty much what I did.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, like I had a budget I had to work with, and I made it stretch and I made it work. And I mean, I didn't pay the price, but I kind of did. You know, I didn't get as nice of a truck as I probably could have gotten. I kind of settled in the moment because I was tired of looking, and I don't regret my decision at all because my truck is like, I'm not gonna say it's one of one because, you know, I know there's another Paradise Blue truck in Toronto somewhere, but
That's the color name, eh?
yeah, Paradise Blue,
Nice.
Paradise Blue metallic.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
What's Cheryl's called?
LimeWire?
No, it's
Livewire?
Electric
Lime.
Lime.
I was gonna say LimeWire is it's dating
Yeah,
us.
that's the virus.
It's the virus
Creator, yeah.
downloading
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? What are you have any
I-
mods coming up or?
Rock sliders.
I need
Oh,
those
yeah.
two.
That's a good.
You don't want
good
to beat it
mod.
up
Which
with a
you'll
hatchet?
which you'll probably either make
Work
or
in the moment.
modify.
Yeah.
to-
I'll be
Moment.
making them.
Which is
So-
stupid because I realized I had my ball peen
Are
sitting
you
in the
doing
back seat.
a square design or a round?
I haven't decided.
Yeah.
I keep bouncing back through ideas.
Supercharger?
I don't know if you need that. Do you need that?
I'm frugal.
'Cause that's
I know, the
gotta be-
superchargers are expensive, man.
That's
The
gotta
one
be
for my truck is
$8,000.
like $3 grand. That's used.
What would it be? Off like a GM 380?
No, they were TRD. Like
Yeah, you can get
could
TRD superchargers.
Yeah, the V6 and the 4-cylinder.
Well, you,
Wild, huh?
You think about it. If you could take a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder that has great big jugs on it, and jam it full of the air to make up for the kind of like the low compression, that thing would make good power.
Well, it's a 2.7, right?
Yeah,
it's a larger
it's
4-cylinder.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive. Considering Mazda made a 1.8 liter V6.
Yeah,
Like-
right.
Like there's some differences there. So sorry, back to the rock sliders. Are you thinking about like filling them with air, like as like a little air tank, or is that just unnecessary?
That's a neat idea too. I thought about something similar to that.
See, I've always thought about doing things like that, and I talked to a guy when I was going to do it with a bumper, and he advised me not to, because if you ever come down on it hard enough or get hit hard enough, it's now a bomb.
120 psi going kaboom.
Right? So it's always a thought. I do have an air pig an air tank under my truck.
Oh,
Oh, so you would need to do that.
So
anyways.
I already have the air volume there because I removed my spare tire and mounted a winch.
That's
where
right,
the
you have a
spare
rear
tire
mounted winch.
that's clever.
is.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's neat.
Which I have the space to do that too.
Yeah, trucks they're a different dimension. Like when you get into Jeeps, it's like you only ever think of Jeeps, and then when you start thinking about like the Gladius, and they have such a nice overhang, they got the space for the tires and so on. Like it's a similar scenario to the Tacomas.
Yeah.
You got a lot of room for activities.
I can sit underneath my truck.
Yeah,
I can literally climb under there and sit and cross-legged and
okay,
it won't hit. Just work under there if I have to.
that's all right. So there'd be the sliders, and then what do you think next?
I'd love to find lockers for it, but I would have to upgrade axles.
They will snap or can snap.
Well, I've been trying to get lockers for it, and
Just find a factory locker
someone-
like he's got.
well, that's the thing. I'd have to upgrade the axle because the axle.
The third member
from-
has a cutout for
but
the.
not that. It's a bit different size.
Oh,
From my truck to the off-road, he has a bigger axle than my truck.
I actually
Oh,
didn't
it's
know that.
heavier duty.
He is.
I don't pay attention to third gen stuff anyways. 'Cause it doesn't do me any justice.
But if you put a
Eight
third gen
and a
axle,
half or something
1 tons.
size in
The
it.
mine is?
Yeah.
Dog,
Yeah.
and
maybe
I
a
have an
supercharger.
8
I couldn't-
or
I
something.
couldn't
one ton. Okay.
We're
It'd be too wide.
7.5 and you have an
I wouldn't
8.
be able to drive it anymore.
Don't quote
So
me on
there's
the
like
numbers.
0.5
but-
difference
Yeah.
you could do Hummer.
in the ring gear
Hummer
size.
IFS.
Yeah.
no,
That's
like
interesting.
The Hummer beadlocks, they suck it right.
So I'd
Oh.
have to
They're like rim
upgrade
faces
the
on the
di-
outside.
the
that's
whole
ugly.
axle
It is,
because I've
Yeah.
tried buying
Yeah.
ratchet lockers. One company tells me, "Oh, this one will work for your thing."
Yeah.
I buy it. It doesn't fit, so I can't send it back because I've put it in.
And then
And
nowadays
then-
you're $600 or $700 at the window.
Yeah, and then you phone the company and they say, "Oh no, you need this style." So now I have one for like a first gen
Sweet.
that's sitting there that someone should be trying to put in his Tacoma.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you have it. Yeah, but I checked and it's for. It is different because my axle is actually 8.4, not 8-inch. They call it an 8-inch, but it's an 8.4. Remember, we back and forth researched that and realized it probably wouldn't be worth tearing them apart to try.
You know, it's funny if you'd said to me the only difference between axles is like, okay, 1976 to like 2021. You're like the third member. It's that I would think the third member would just go whoop, and it would just like
You would hope.
the only thing different is okay the Tundras. Okay, now it's got a bit of a hot dog down a hallway, but otherwise that's the difference. You know what I mean? Like everything should just fit together because why change it? It's like
Don't
know,
fix what's not
it's
broken.
Mighty Mouse.
man.
Like you don't have to worry about it. Just
But
good metal G and good parts. What
there
broke?
is a difference.
What broke on yours? I remember you were saying you actually hurt the diff. Was it
Ring and pinion.
really?
Dirty.
Yeah. So the Tacomas have a great feature, the limited slip differential lock.
Okay.
So when the ABS is on in the one feature, it comes up as auto LSD.
My
And
Tundra has that.
when you
Sure.
start to spin, it'll apply the brakes to the other
Ah.
tires.
So that the other one that's
add
actually
power
got
to the other
yeah,
tire,
the one that's actually stopped will get the power.
and it works
It's a
phenomenal
neat system.
until you bind it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, "Hey, it's not going. Oh, I'm gonna send power here."
Yeah.
Break.
And the weak spot was the ring
That's-
and pinion.
And you think like the ring and pinion
Jesus.
is huge. Like the strength
For
of it
for
is-
the
it
axle
sucks.
not to snap or something like that.
Yeah.
That
It
is.
goes to show you.
Would
that
have been nicer if the axle would have snapped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You just jam the new axle and driven home.
Exactly.
Ring and pinion. Like
I limped it back to Campanelle. I tore it down and pulled the ring and pinion out, put it all back together, and drove home in front wheel drive.
That's all you can do. Slowly.
Yep.
And no jackrabbit starts. Wow. And then, of course, finding something that matched the right era, the right ratio.
Which, for me to get the ring-in pinion, just the parts, I had to get it from the dealership because no driveline shop would do it if you bought aftermarket ones, because they apparently don't line up.
Great.
So you have, for that gear set, you have to buy the OEM ones. There was none in Ontario. And it was $3,000 for parts.
Ring and pinion.
Ooh.
And
So dirty.
I got the whole diff with brand new brakes with low kilometers for $2,000.
Yeah, which is expensive, but there's
He got the whole thing.
But when
The
you're
cat-
saving $1,000 plus,
yeah.
Like you had the brakes even just into that. Like, I know I just did the rear drums, shoes, axle seals, and rear wheel bearings on, which suck doing on my axles, might I add. I was about $1,000 deep just in all that gear. Right.
It adds up. Eh?
That's
That's
a
just brakes, wheel bearings, and axle seals, man.
and that's one of the things that surprised me the most when we bought Cheryl's Taco was that the rear brakes are still fucking drums.
Yeah.
It's like the last vehicle on the planet,
Fuck, you're
other
right.
than dump trucks.
Yeah,
Well,
other than dump trucks and economy cars.
Well, think about it. I mean, it's don't fix what's not broken, man. They work.
True.
Barely.
Yeah, but you think about the
Oh, wait,
split. of
They
the
used to have
70-30.
drum brakes on the front too. Why did they have discs there? They worked.
That's right. Except you had to pump one way, it went this way, pump that way, it went this way, and then pump this way, it would stop. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It is nice that they went away from that, but it is one of the last vehicles that has drums.
I think the new model is disc, 4-wheel disc, at least on the off-road.
Yeah, I
models.
think you're right. But you're
But
you,
leaf
and you are
springs
right.
still have leaf
4-wheel
springs.
discs would have been
Yeah.
nice because
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
that's
going
true,
coil?
'cause they're coil springs, right?
They are going coil
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
Holy
they
cow.
are. Yeah.
They want it to probably to ride like a Cadillac.
But you can't hold the weight with the coils,
No.
Ask God how it worked out.
right?
Well, most people aren't really towing with the Tacomas, anyways.
Well, that's when we took that
But
for a
you
drive.
put a camper on it, your rooftop tent, you start sagging with
yeah,
a coil.
but then you can get stiffer springs
Yeah,
Right.
airbags.
or helper bags. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just do the old school trick and just shove a football in there. I mean, yeah. So it's up to you. I don't
A
recommend it.
football.
Yeah, you shove a deflated football in there and you
I
fill
did
it up
not-
underneath
Really?
the coil.
I
Redneck
did not know
airbag.
that.
Yeah, you just deflate a football, shove it in the
No,
coil, and then you
I'm
pump
still
it
stuck
up.
at hockey pucks for body lift. Like,
Yeah, that really is.
the football is a step ahead.
Body lifts, do you still do those?
YJ. Well, that was all the YJ mounts because we didn't
You know
have
how I
anything at
feel.
all.
It's durable rubber. And you know it stands up to half decent weather.
Well, they're
And
built for the cold.
Yeah.
and
And you say a
being hit.
frozen puck doesn't bounce like a warm puck, so that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we at? So we've covered each taco hero,
Yeah.
some of the trials and tribulations. What do you think's been your favorite obstacle in Ardbeg so far?
Well, I do remember last year when we were here. I remember we drove across the beach, and then we went up that like really steep incline.
Yeah, there was some
Um,
people camping on the beach this time.
I don't care.
I
They
think
wouldn't care.
The water's
If we were
really
there, they
high,
would
I
too.
say the water's really high. Like
Yeah.
we were driving by and I'm
It's
like,
not salt
we've
water, I
lost a
would've
lot of
drove in it.
beach. And also too, there's a lot of stays going down. That's why we decided not
Yeah.
to go across the beach.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I
a lot of
actually
kids
had
running around on a
Yeah.
beach too.
if I had to pick a favorite obstacle from today, it was probably when we were at that really long hill where we turned around and started coming back. It was
That's-
easy, but I mean, once you got on there and you're just like, okay, momentum, just keep going.
Speak for yourself.
You know, and I
Mr.
got to
Easy
watch
Done.
you guys climb up it too. You know, I always love watching Ashtakon just flex up everything. It's like, one day.
One day you'll be there. If you really want to be there, you could just narrow a set of 1 tons.
You know what would be good in his is the TTB.
I was thinking a Ford 9-inch or maybe a 609 in the front. Light.
It would be nice to keep
Well,
my
because he'd
six
get to
log,
keep
too.
his ride of
That's
the
right.
independent.
So if
But
Especially
have
that
the-
supercharger unloads. Brap, brap.
So
Yeah.
the next
brap.
question is, because I've never actually asked anybody this, because I only thought about this the other day. The old square body Chevs, They were solid axle front with 6 lug.
Half-ton stuff, 10 bolts or 44s.
Most of them were 10 bolt.
Yeah.
So
Which
you're
were
right. You
good
get the
axle.
width, but that's
Not bad
just
for a front axle, though.
delicate axle.
Is it?
Well, the
It's gonna be
with
tougher
the
than
power
anything I
that
got.
he's pushing
Maybe,
Which is
in
nothing.
his Toyota, which is
I
nothing.
would like to eventually do twin transfer cases at some point too. You know, get some triple sticks, but like, I wouldn't want to do that unless I had a solid axle because it wouldn't be worth it. I wouldn't need it because
Oh,
my
you
long
think-
range is still pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, it ain't nothing compared to your XJ, but it's not far
Depends
off.
on what you want to do with your Tacoma too. Like if you want to,
Well, I still
if you
daily
want to rock
drive it.
crawl, then yeah, you do so.
Like I daily drive it. I think it's 600 kilometers a week.
Yeah.
Like, and it gets beat onto you and neglected, as you heard from my power steering pump.
Was it whining?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
the screen in the reservoir.
There was a
is
lot of
clogged.
times I was very worried about what was going on
Oh.
with my Jeep,
Yeah,
and
just
I'm
pop
like,
it
oh
out
no,
and
wait,
brake cleaner. I
Kevin's
just
close.
haven't done it. I tried to
That's
do
like
it,
reassuring
but I
moment
couldn't
when you're
get
like, oh
the
God,
one
thank
bolt
goodness.
off.
Yeah,
because
it's
the
not
pulley
mine.
was in the way, and I didn't have time to pull the pulley and pull the accessory belt out and get that deep into it when I was actually into doing it. So I just kind of threw it all back together. And said,
I was gonna say, can you get in there with a toothpick and just take some of the debris out?
We tried to. So we used a turkey baster with a hose attached to it. And we sucked all the fluid out.
Yeah.
Pour new fluid in. Turn the truck on. Move it. Cycle the fluid. Try to break it loose. Suck more of it out. We did that and then got in there with a little paintbrush to kind of stir it up.
Yeah.
But we can only do the top. I can't get underneath and do the
That's
bottom.
and that's
part.
where the strainer
I'm not
is?
sure. I just need to pop that reservoir off and give it a deep clean.
Yeah.
Maybe do a fluid flush.
I'm sure it's right at the bottom. A little tricky to
Yeah,
get
it's
to.
probably something stupid.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
But I mean, the power steering still works. It just whines. It's annoying. But like today, I had no problems the whole time.
Yeah.
It got wet. Didn't cause me problems. I thought my truck was gonna die in that hole. I was scared. As soon as I saw the water coming up
I say
over
all
the
the
hood, I was like,
Taco
"Uh-oh."
owners went into that hole. No, you two were the only ones because there were some sketchy moments.
Well,
for
you guys
in
kept
there.
telling me, "You're going, you're going." I'm like, my wife's telling me no.
She did not.
She
look,
Get out of the way.
looked a little upset at
I'm
everybody
doing it.
in that
She
moment.
did not look impressed. You were coming up. You just see her like, ugh.
She knew it was coming because I was trying to provoke everybody else, and I'm not a hypocrite. I can't push someone else to do it if I won't do it myself.
That's fair, yeah.
Right?
I do. The water line on the hood does scare me slightly, though. That's
Well, because my intake's right next to my corner light, right? So as soon as the water's over the hood, my intake's underwater,
Okay.
Glub, glub, glub.
right?
I was gonna 2.7.
That's why I said I
liters
was
of water
scared.
pump,
As soon as
yeah.
I saw it come up and it was like bellowing off the side of the hood, I was like, oh,
Oh
shit.
God.
Keep going. Keep on the gas.
This is-
Keep on the
this is
gas.
our
Don't
moment.
stop.
Suck more of that water in.
Yeah.
I got through. I went through and I came back.
See, since we have Gary here and he's actually possibly listening, should we tell him what happened on Crystal Lake and why the Crystal Lake cleanup turned into only 2? Because no one knows. We did not
Yeah.
put that video
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Facebook
for
because
sure.
we wanted to keep it a secret. Oh, the king is watching.
Oh, we've got his
We
attention.
piqued his interest.
Did he make it further than he did?
Yes.
Oh,
We
Yes.
need video evidence
He-
because you
he
tried
was
to do
almost
something.
did
through.
make it further.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, he hit the
No.
log under the water
No.
and snapped his axle. So he couldn't really go that
Yes.
far.
You don't go far with 3 wheels.
Definitely not.
No.
Down you do.
You do go down. But
His
no, we
wheel was
did-
coming off. It was like broken.
Leaving the
broken.
track. Yeah.
It's like, all right, fuck you, I'm out.
It took another one.
Me and you, gotta take it on.
Can I
So
play?
I
Can
was
I play?
hoping we'd
Can I
learn
play?
our lesson. Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, like you were going back and forth.
We never do.
You were going back and
But you
forth,
go-
and I could have swore you're making progress. I'm like, just go over there. You're like, I need to get out of here. My battery light's on.
Yeah.
My
Like,
alternator is not
or
happy.
service charging system
Yeah.
or something is on. Like, oh yeah, let's.
It
And
just
then we
seemed
came
like there
out
was.
and you seen everything seemed to be working.
Yeah.
Fine.
And then I shut it down to see if the light would turn off, and then we couldn't get it back started.
Oh.
Turns out vehicles prefer dry. They don't like water.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
And mulching mud.
Water's fine. It's the fine clay water that gets into
Well,
No,
it's
it
mulch.
was, it was
It was
mulch
like
in that.
it was mulch.
mulch.
Yeah. So the mulch was getting in there and breaking contact.
Blocking the alternator, and then the starter went and got flat spots in it.
Should have busted out the brake clean.
Oh, we did.
I was gonna say, I bet you did a mint job on that. Yeah. You're like $1,000 for a starter. I'm cleaning this thing perfectly.
It's still going.
Yep, that's fair. I didn't know if you spent the money or
No.
not, but no, that's good.
It's still going.
Is it raining?
I think it's
Is
just
that the
windy.
wind?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just wind. But the wind just comes up and you hear it like coming towards us and I'm like, oh, we're gonna get wet.
It's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, yeah.
It's 5:45.
I was gonna say, yeah, we might
Hey,
break
we
for
should
dinner.
wrap it
Eh?
up.
So anything
Well,
else you
yeah,
guys
no,
want to know?
I want to
Any other
know
questions?
why
Oh, that's
why you
right.
went from Jeep to Taco.
Because
Why did you trade teams?
I've
Oh, stop it.
I've
He's smarting up.
always liked the Tacoma. I couldn't afford it.
Because you're a normal person.
I
Yeah.
feel that.
I could afford a Cherokee back in the day because Cherokees
$1,000 a pop. Why not?
$500 Cherokees all day long.
$500, $300
Back when we were that age, though.
Right.
Yeah, things have changed.
Things have changed. Yes,
Things have
but
changed. Now you can't find a Cherokee
That's worth buying.
worth buying.
And if it's worth buying, it's too expensive.
And I never believed what everyone said when I talked to a Toyota person. It's a Jeep person with better credit.
Yeah.
And after
I've never heard
breaking
that before. That's a
breaking
good
a
one.
few parts on it, I have to agree
Yeah,
with
now
them.
you understand.
Right?
But in all fairness,
To be
since having your Tacoma, I know you've listed off a bunch of things you've had to fix and repair and issues
I
you've
wouldn't
had.
trade it in for a Jeep in a heartbeat, no.
Exactly.
I wouldn't trade it for a new one.
So if you had to
Sorry,
compare
Ken.
your repair bills versus the Jeep versus the Toyota, I think the Toyota's still a little bit ahead.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That's so. Yeah, when we were shopping for Cheryl's, she wanted a Jeep, and we looked at them, and I couldn't justify the price of them because I bought mine brand new for whatever, and they're all of a sudden
was
another
peanuts
$30,000,
probably back then.
$40,000
Yep.
more than that, and the amount of issues I've had with mine since new, and the amount of issues I've had with my my Tundra work
But
truck,
to be
my
fair,
Toyota.
you've also used your Jeep a lot.
I have, but I also put 100,000 miles a year on my truck,
Yeah.
and it's been in the shop twice.
Yeah, so in that comparison, it's like a no-brainer that,
Yeah.
no offense, but Toyota is superior in that
And like it
sense.
was,
in the
it was,
reliability sense.
and
But
my Toyota was in the shop for maintenance things,
Mhm.
not
But just as capable
Oh, we have
as a
anything.
Jeep. For taking a stock Tacoma.
That is heavily debatable.
Because you're
IF,
talking.
solid axle is going to trump an IFS all day long. They're going to be four wheels on the ground while I'm going to be three wheeling, and we've proven that numerous times with my truck.
Yes, but you can
Yours does
with
high
these
five a lot. It
Tacomas, you can still be three wheels, 2-3 feet in the
It
air,
still goes.
and it'll still just
Yeah.
completely go with
I don't know if I
stability.
three wheeled it all today. I don't think I got that into it. I scraped ass a lot today.
it's totally different feeling when you're wheeling with the IFS and just that wheel's gonna hang. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But if I had to honestly say, in the 4 years I've had this 28-year-old truck, as far as maintenance goes, let's eliminate the frame and eliminate the head gasket, because like those are. Pretty
Let's just
cash.
get rid of the big
That's
big ticket
The
items.
big ones, so get rid of those.
Well, the head gasket could be contributed to high kilometers, right? And it could also be contributed because I put a new radiator in it, and I don't know if I burnt the system properly. So that could have been my stupidity. So that.
So
could have
you
been my
overheated
fault.
it and you fried the fucking head.
Yeah,
gasket.
I could have fried the head gasket. That could have been my.
That was
fault.
already
so,
old.
So that might not even be a Toyota issue at all. That was a me issue. But if I honestly had to chalk it all down between doing the front brakes, rear brakes, I did the rear axle seals, rear pinion seal, and clutch. I did the clutch when the engine was out. That was going to be overdue anyway, so that is a wear item. So between all that, that's it.
That's it, but like,
And the rad.
to
The
say
rad
that,
cracked.
look at the XJ. And like, you haven't touched it other than to modify it.
So
That's from like
and
the
what
same era,
vehicle is
though,
here
like-
this weekend and what vehicle isn't?
That was a parts order issue.
that was a me issue, yeah. Turns out my front calipers that are off of one of those axles, the GMC C10 or whatever,
Mhm.
four-wheel drive, it's actually from the early 70s. Not
So is that what you have on your axle?
just the brake system, yeah.
Oh.
So it's half ton, but it has a large 7/16 by 20 banjo bolt.
Yeah.
Not an M10 like everything else in the entire world.
Why don't you just get an M10 banjo bolt?
So remember we talked about the hot dog in the hallway? There would be no grab. So the problem is the calipers that I bought.
Could you
for-
make a sleeve?
You're talking a lot of great things, but not backyard shed mechanicking.
Say
on a
Friday
Saturday
night before we're supposed to be leaving, Thursday night before we're supposed to be leaving, or Friday morning, and we still had to finish up the tent trailer and all that sort of nonsense. Like, there's a lot of cards stacked against us, and around 1:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, screw it, let's just get the trailer sorted.
I'm not gonna lie, I was
Put the
hoping to see the
Cherokee back
XJ
together.
here. Like when you guys showed up, I was hoping the XJ was gonna show up because I think it's fucking rad.
I really love
I'm
that
hoping to
video.
see
I
you
love
guys
that
every time we go down the trail, but
Love everything about it.
I'm often let down.
Like even like just like thinking about the XJs, like what comes to mind is like the front windows. How you still have like the square, it still has the triangles.
It kind of gives you that old school.
I just
feel.
love the old school stuff. It was
Yeah.
things were different back then.
True.
You know? Like my truck, even though the bumpers were tin can, they were still steel, right? You know, like
tin and tin, yeah.
it's not this plastic stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I think we're
they were in good shape.
doing
Did
good.
we sufficiently cover the tacos?
If you have any last questions, I will
Last
answer
words?
absolutely anything you want to know.
Or Forever Hold Your podcast?
In front of our live studio audience.
That's right.
We do have a live studio audience. They're all sitting here staring at us.
Yeah.
It's like 50-50. We're
The
almost
peanut
the same.
gallery has been good.
And no, and it's been great. They're like holding up suggestions. Like
Like they're helping us
Or-
actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we've included them in with this too. You know,
Yeah.
we haven't excluded them and said, "Oh,
Yeah,
there's no
fact checking.
Like, you know,
You guys suck. Yeah.
Worried we'll start throwing things.
they're not,
There
they're not
you
on
go.
screen, but they are involved." Yeah. So, any last questions before we wrap
good,
this
yeah.
up?
No, I think we're good.
We're good. All right.
That's right.
Well, she's got to sign off first.
I was just saying, you guys can follow us on Instagram, Facebook at WSOTS.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah,
Jeeps.
blah.
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Google,
Apple.
Apple.
It's Spotify has an RSS feed, so anywhere where you get your
There you go. So anywhere you get our podcast, that's where we are. We're wrong
Where
side of
you
the river
get
Gearheads,
podcasts,
wrong
it should be
side of the river Jeeps, and we also have our website wsotrjeeps.ca. Give us a like, give us a follow, shoot us a message if you want to hear us talk about something, or if you have a message for taco people.
yeah.
I was going to say, we know people.
We know,
We know
people.
people. We know taco people.
And they're very much more knowledgeable than what we drew from today.
Yes.